Hello, we are back once again for another LockDown Question Time podcast.
Hello again.
Yay!
We're back.
We're back. We don't know whether this is going to be the last one because certain restrictions are starting to be lifted, and there may be more coming in the next few weeks. So we generally don't know what the deal is. But I don't think you're allowed in each other's houses at the moment. So I don't think this will be the last one, but it's going to be one of the last. I think there's only going to be a few more after these. I think maybe.
Unless you really, really enjoy this podcast, it's good news for you.
Yeah. So if you test the fact that we're putting this out every single week, then yay.
Yeah, well, we do it. It's effort for those that are bored, but the main two people that are bored are you and me.
Yeah, it keeps us busy. We keep talking, and it's some content to put out.
Yeah, I mean, even if we do a couple more of these and we go like that's it, I think in 2 weeks' time it's Backlash anyway. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so you're not getting rid of us.
No, never. Usual, like, subscribe, find us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Apple Music, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blah blah blah. And Josh is going to kick in with the first question.
I will. This is literally just clicked in my head now with the deaths thing. Unfortunately, I cannot remember her name, so I'm so sorry. But it was a Japanese wrestler.
Yes, the 22-year-old.
Yeah, from I can't remember. I think it's Star something. I can't remember the name of the company now. But yeah, she committed suicide. 22, I think, due to cyberbullying.
Yeah, it's online bullying. Yeah.
Yeah, which is always shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible that we have to talk about suicide so much in these kind of podcasts when we're dedicating a podcast to them. But there's no cause at all for cyberbullying. So if you're doing it, pack it the fuck in, because this is the kind of shit that can happen. This
is the result of your little keyboard warrior moments.
Yeah, well, we've said from day one, any death is horrible, but 22 years old is not an age to go out.
Not at all. So this is for her, I suppose.
Yeah, so again, sorry I can't remember her name, but we'll crack on with it.
Question one.
Question one from me. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the AEW stuff.
I've flitted in and out, but I haven't been watching it. I've just been hearing about results, really.
Yeah, I try and watch as much as I can. I watched Double or Nothing. Thought it was great. A really great show. Obviously, little bits of room improvement there and controversial things, but all in all, great. You don't watch it weekly, so I don't think this is much of a spoiler for you, but the Revival finally debuted.
Yes, I've seen the Revival there, so that's good.
Which is great. So, yeah, there's a lot of buzz at the minute. But my question, who do you think would benefit more if they jump from AEW to WWE and vice versa?
Oh, from AEW to WWE?
Yeah, and then, obviously, who would benefit more from jumping WWE to AEW? If you can think of a superstar off the top of your head.
I think from AEW going to WWE, it's Omega. It's definitely Omega, because
does he benefit there?
I don't think necessarily benefit more than what being at AEW, because he's perfect where he is. He doesn't need to leave. But my point is, if he goes there, they're going to send him to the moon. You know what I mean? They're going to push him to the moon because they wanted him so bad, and he was one of the people they put a lot of money offered on the table to get him. Stupid money to get him. I think it was more than what they offered AJ Styles as well, as far as I remember. So he'll be pushed to the moon, and he'll be a top guy for a while. Saying that, obviously, this is all a temporary thing. WWE tend to, Vince tends to lose interest in people after a while. So I don't think there's anyone specific that would actually benefit long term, but Omega short term definitely. The other way round. I'm looking forward to seeing if Rusev debuts. I think that he would be a top guy in that company. There's so many feuds he can have in there. He's a great character. I'd love to see what he can do. Yeah,
I kind of understand Kenny in a way. What I'm worried about is, I don't know if AJ Styles is a good example or not, because as far as I'm concerned, AJ's had a very good career in the WWE.
Yeah.
But then I look at people like Samoa Joe, where I think, well, what the fuck did they do with him? I mean, maybe it's injury stuff. I don't know. But I'd be worried that Kenny would come down as a watered-down version of himself.
Well, I agree. But to be honest, any person that jumps from AEW to WWE will probably end up being exactly the same. The problem is, it doesn't matter who it is. They're going to be a watered-down version. They may get pushed to the moon, but after a while, they'll just end up another body in the roster. That's just going to happen. Yeah. So if I had to choose, I'd say no one. I don't want anyone going to WWE. But as you've asked me to pick one, Omega seems the obvious one that will get the most benefit. He'll get the most money. He'll get the championships.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'll try and think of my own answers. And even though he'd never do this because it'd be like, well, what's the point of AEW even existing? I think if Cody went back to WWE now, he'd benefit a lot because he's evolved so much, and the WWE would see now how big of a star he can be.
Yeah.
So I think Cody would thrive.
The feud with Triple H alone would be enough.
I think with anybody, I think Cody could carry it enough to be like, I'm ready to see this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying if he made his entrance back into WWE, that would be the first feud he has if he beats Triple H at Mania.
Yeah, but it would never happen because he's one of the founders of AEW.
No, so of course not.
Why would he leave? The other way around, WWE to AEW, it says a lot of people.
Yes, so many. All of them. Every single member on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think, like, who's the most? And I don't know why, but the name that just popped out first is Lashley. Because, again, I can't really put my finger on what they're doing wrong with Lashley. Again, it's just I cannot bring myself to show enough interest to care in him.
Yeah.
But because it would be going to another company, it would be a proper reset button for him.
Yeah.
Of like it's a clean slate. Let's forget about what happened in WWE. Let's see what we can do with this guy because he's a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, he just hasn't had his time to shine.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the right it factor.
Yeah,
and maybe with less, let's put it this way, less PG restrictions.
Yeah,
Lashley could delve into something of like, now I can do this and be a monster. But,
100%.
Yeah. I don't know.
In short, no one should go to WWE. Everyone should go to AEW.
Yes.
Right, so my turn. My first question to you is, what do you think about the spare talent that they're using around the ring for crowds at the moment as a way to get round the kind of 2 meter gap? Even though it seems kind of pointless because they some of them got involved in some of the angles and everything, and none of them are properly 2 meters apart. So I'm just like, it's kind of pointless, but what do you think about them using that as a thing?
I see AEW have been doing it like for about a month and a half now.
Right.
So I don't know if WWE stole the idea or WWE were like, we've wanted to do that, but maybe somebody sensible backstage is like, let's hold off a bit till we know a bit more about the virus and what's going on. Because didn't they have a few cases?
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know, there haven't been any in AEW. But yeah, Double or Nothing mentioned it because I think they don't shy away. I think the commentary team even said, like, look, we know there's some people out there who sees the people in the audience to go, what are they doing? It's like, look, these aren't strangers. These are performers or people that know the performers are related to them, and everybody that's entered this arena has been tested.
Yeah.
Right. So as long as WWE are doing that kind of stuff of like, right, okay, you're tested, try and keep your distance from each other and enjoy the show to try and get a bit more atmosphere back.
Yeah, a bit more flavour.
I'm fine with it. What I'm not, I was a little bit like what the fuck with is the most recent episode of AEW. Jericho and Mike Tyson got into a brawl.
Yes.
And everybody poured in the ring. And number one, I think they were trying to recreate the Tyson Austin thing.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't think it hit home.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was very similar.
Yeah, but it's like, A, it's been done and it didn't really hit it. And two, with all these restrictions and things you put in place, and now you just have pretty much the ring packed full of people, surely that's not a good idea, even if you have been tested.
WWE did exactly the same. I think it was with Drew and Lashley. They got into a brawl, and all the guys that were standing out in the crowd and everything got involved. Nearly all of them, to split them up. And it's just like, well, why have them? It just kind of undermines the point that what you're making here is that you're putting your people out in the crowd and everything and whatnot, and then you're just going to get them in the ring anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if they've been tested, fine, but I still wouldn't risk it needlessly.
Yeah.
They could have just changed it slightly to have, all right, we'll have a shit ton of security run out there, but have them all rubber gloved up and masks and stuff, because that would be understandable in the circumstances. People wouldn't be going, why are they running down dressed like that? They would know why.
Yeah.
The situation. But, maybe it's nitpicky, or maybe it's just kind of like fair for us to go, well, that's a bit stupid.
Well, no, listen, I'm not necessarily against it, because, like I say, it is adding a bit more flavour to the shows. It's the only thing I'm thinking of is Vince able to control the reactions more? Because they're going to cheer for the good guys and boo for the bad guys regardless, and that's. But then again, I suppose I'm nitpicking here because, like, well, at least we've got some sort of crowd, I suppose, and it's making the shows a bit more enjoyable. So it's a difficult one.
I did think the exact same thing with AEW because I kept thinking, right, that obviously the crowd are obviously people who work there, and they're obviously booking the matches and the segments still to kind of tell the audience this is a good guy, this is a bad guy. But I just thought, how is someone truly going to get over if you do not hear the organic reaction of a real fan?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're the ones at the end of the day that will say, yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not. So, but yeah, I see what you're coming from. If anybody's going to tell his audience, you cheer for him, you boo for him, it's going to be Vince.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but I suppose it's temporary, and it's not going to be there forever.
It's testing the water. I think he's seeing how much he can turn it up, just bit by bit. Because if it begins to cause a rise in the virus again, people are getting sick, then he'll have to turn it down again.
Yeah.
Hopefully. You just never know with things. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. They just need to keep the restrictions in place. Is it me again?
It is.
It's me back.
Question 2 from you to me.
Question 2. I like being historic here. We witnessed history a couple of years ago at WrestleMania 35 when the women headlined Mania for the first time with the Women's Championship. So I know you've got the cruiserweights and the mid-cards and all that, but the three main divisions you get in wrestling are the men's, the women's, and the tag team. Do you think anytime soon or just ever we could possibly see the tag team championships headline WrestleMania?
Not while Vince is alive.
Well, you think he's holding it back?
100%. Because it's shown time and time and time again, and screaming until everybody's blue in the face. He does not care about the tag team division. That is the main reason that the Revival left. He said the titles are worthless because you don't care about them. He said, we don't want the titles because it makes no difference to us. We want to push the division. We want them to be a credible division and show what these guys and girls can do. And yeah, he doesn't care about the tag division. It's just there for a storyline so that he can have more bodies together doing something. Like if he hasn't got a tag team together, he'll put one together just randomly. There's very few solid actual tag teams. You know what I mean? It's a very select few. So once he's gone, I think yes, that will happen. I think Triple H at some point in the future, I think if he builds up the story correctly, if he's got some real good, solid tag team wrestling going on, if you build the story correctly, I think that you could definitely see that happen. Because some matches in the past have been some of the best we've ever seen. And you can do that. So yeah, I think it will happen. I just don't think it's happening until Vince is gone.
Yeah, I mean, I just sometimes wonder... Again, I'm not arguing the state of the tag division on Raw and SmackDown at the minute, or just all of WWE really, is quite mediocre. I sometimes really have to think to remember who the tag champions are.
Yeah, same here, and you shouldn't have to.
No. But I know, as a fan, again, it might be because of the state of the division at the minute. You know, to me, and this is no offence to the women at all, But to me, the biggest prize in the game is the WWE Championship. Universal's there, but to me, it's the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
So I don't know, as a fan, if I buy into the fact that unless the story is great and the characters and wrestlers are phenomenal, I don't know if I can buy in enough to a tag team title match being big enough to headline WrestleMania. A pay-per-view, I've got no problem with. They've done it on takeovers before, and I've loved it. But I don't know. I want it to. I've just got that concern. I'd love to see the tag team titles defended in the main event of Mania because, the division should be taken as just as seriously as the other two. And I want them to knock it out of the park. But I've got a sense of doubt.
It all depends on given the time, given the wrestlers, and given the story. If you get it right, you can make it amazing. You can make it happen.
To push the tag team championships more than anything else, because they need to be put over to mean just as much, if not more, than the WWE Championship and everything else.
Yeah.
It's not a mid-card. The tag title shouldn't be seen as a mid-card belt. It's a completely different division. It should be, these are the guys top of the tag division.
Yeah.
Just like this is the top of the women's, this is the men's. And at the minute, it's just like, for Raw, for example, Asuka's on top, Drew's on top, and Street Profits are down here somewhere.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't feel that way.
No, it shouldn't.
So, I'd love to see it, but I'm just a bit sceptical about it.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Right, question 2 from me to you. I'm sure you've heard all of these media outlets going absolutely crazy saying, Rey Mysterio's retiring! And, oh my God, it's just like, it blows my mind how stupid the media is where they see one tagline and go, quick, we've got a report on it. It's like, and you haven't even dug a little bit deeper when it's your job to dig deep into a story so that when you give it out to the public, all the facts are there. And they're completely unaware that it's a storyline. Clearly it's a storyline because Steph's the one that's hosting the retirement thing. So it's obviously a storyline. My question is, how do you think that Rey is actually going to retire? When they decide to do it, how do you think they'll do it?
I think, I agree. There probably are some media outlets that don't understand it. But there's some media outlets that have probably done the exact same article, but they get it. And they've probably got a deal with WWE because, to be honest, them doing it that way causes people to tune in.
Yeah, like the sports things and everything. Those kind of things, I could probably say, they probably are aware that they're in on it or whatever. But things like Daily Mail and all this kind of shit just randomly popping up with it. It's like, oh my God, you're an idiot.
It's a smart ploy because at the end of the day, WWE will be loving it because it means the world's talking about it.
Yeah.
So, for the casual fan or the person that used to watch it, if they've been scrolling through Facebook and they see that article, they're going to go, oh my God, Rey Mysterio, I used to watch him when I was a kid. I was retiring. I might tune into that, see what happens. They've been very smart about it. I'm 85% sure, like you say, it's a work.
I'm
It would be so weird. I mean, can you imagine sitting here next week and we're just like, Rey retired, that was it.
Oh my God. I mean, it'd be the biggest swerve ever because I'm like 100% convinced it's definitely a work.
I think it is a work, but I think to answer your question, the original question, I think this is the seeds of the start of the beginning of the end.
Yes.
I think
which is why I formulated this kind of question, really.
Yeah, I think he's planted the seeds with Seth. I don't know if Seth's going to be his final opponent. If it is, great.
Yeah.
To kind of go, it'll probably be something like similar to Ric Flair. Once you lose, you're gone.
Yeah, 100%. Career versus something else or whatever.
Yeah, I think obviously Rey hasn't got as much in the tank as he did a few years ago. But let's put it this way, he's still got a lot more in the tank than The Undertaker does right now.
Oh, yeah.
I think Rey can go for a series of really good matches before he goes, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll be going because I'm pretty sure Dominic will be taking over the mantle as... I don't think he'll be the cruiserweight kind of type that Rey was because Dominic's too big,
yeah,
in my opinion. But yeah, I think Rey might be going, you know what? few more matches, going to step down a peg, and then I'll just focus on helping my son have a future here in this industry. So, yeah, I think it's the beginning of the end for Rey, but I don't think it's the end next Monday.
No, definitely not.
Right, my final one. It's going to sound weird. You heard of the snog, marry, avoid crap?
Yeah, like a 5-year-old would.
Girls do, right? We're not going to do that. Don't worry. Don't look panic.
I'm not snogging you, Josh. Stop asking.
Can't in social distance.
Avoid everyone.
Avoid. I've kind of come up with my own, but it's I've had 4 in there instead of 3, and we'll keep it just WWE just to make it all simple. So instead of snog, marry, avoid, fire, push, repackage, turn. If you could pick any 4 right now.
Any 4? Oh, I thought you were going to have 4 ready for me.
No. You got to pick. If you could fire someone, push someone, turn them either heel or face, depending on who you pick, or repackage them, who would you pick?
Right, so push 1.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe when he comes back.
Yeah, even though the horrible rumour I've heard is they happy with him replacing Jerry Lawler permanently.
Yeah, I know.
Like, why?
He's a great commentator, don't get me wrong. He's a great commentator, but I want him to wrestle.
It's talent.
Yeah.
Fair.
What was the other one? Fire?
Fire. Fire, push, repackage, turn.
Fire. Oh, God, who would I fire? There's so many choices.
But they've got rid of a lot of
They
people.
got a lot, yeah, they got a lot. Oh, but there's some I just don't give a shit about. I just, Tamina, don't care.
Yeah, I was going to say her.
Don't care. I don't care about her.
It's just not working.
Yeah, it's just not, is it? Push 1. No, not push. Repackage. Oh, repackage is hard. Oh, God. Oh, no, I don't know. Oh, that's really hard.
I mean, not to keep with the theme of this, really, but I'm going to have to say Lashley again.
Yeah.
You
That's fair enough.
I mean, if you're going to persevere with the guy, fair enough. But when it's not it's one of those again of like, right, go back to the drawing board again because it's not working. The Leo Rush stuff wasn't working. The Lana stuff wasn't working. And maybe it's too early to say the MVP thing isn't working. Maybe I've got to give it a bit more time. But currently, if it doesn't work, I'd go with Lashley.
See, I'm thinking Cesaro, but he's been repackaged so many times. But every repackage has been a kind of soft repackage, more of like an entrance change more than anything. But I mean like a hard repackage, like really just making this dominant guy that we know that he can be. I'd go with probably Cesaro.
Yeah, I think WWE and Cesaro genuinely don't know what they can do with his character.
If he has a spokesperson, then he'd be amazing.
Yeah, the thing is, he was a Paul Heyman guy for a while.
Yeah, if you keep that up.
Yeah, the problem, Heyman did explain this in one of his Inside the Ropes because he won the Andre Battle Royal by throwing Big Show over, which was a moment in itself when you thought, here we go.
This is it, yeah.
And then he becomes a Paul Heyman guy, like, oh, brilliant. The problem at the time was the Punk thing was kind of fresh of him walking out. So it wasn't long after that Heyman had to go out and do his pipe bomb to reference that Punk had gone. And he was also, obviously, Brock Lesnar's advocate. And Heyman said the problem with that is, with as good as Cesaro is, with me there, it was always going to be, oh, he's got Brock Lesnar's manager. Not that's his manager.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it wasn't a separate thing. But I agree he needs a spokesperson. I just don't know who.
Yeah.
What
was the last one? Turn.
Turn. So either turn heel or face.
I'd probably turn Sami Zayn face.
All right. Yeah.
I do like him as a heel, and don't get me wrong, he's done really well with it. I didn't think he would be able to do it when they first did it. I was like, this is going to be awful, but he's done quite well with it. I just love him as this proper like underdog. He was just like kind of next Daniel Bryan kind of a feel of a character for me, and I just love that. So I want to turn him back into that, and as I've said so many times before, hopefully this leads to him winning the big one at Mania. If that means we have to turn KO heel in the process, fine. Yeah. I just want that moment for him. You know what I mean? I think he's well overdue it, but, you know, obviously he's got Heat background and everything, and some people like him, some people don't. So I just don't know whether they're ever going to give it to him. But, yeah, him. I'd turn him face.
I like that. I mean, I've already kind of agreed with the Fire and repackaged one, really. So if I were to push someone, I nearly went with Joe myself, but I think I'm going to go with Aleister Black, because it's not like he's not doing anything, but I don't think the company seeing how much potential this guy has got.
Yeah.
And I think they need to give him a bit more attention. As a turn, I don't know really. I mean, I'm kind of quite content with where people are as far as face and heel at the minute. But it'd either be, I think, either turn Alexa back heel.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was just always great.
Yeah, she was a great heel.
Yeah. Or because of recent events, and just because he still needs a bit of oomph, turn Apollo heel.
Oh, imagine that.
Because
imagine if he came out to celebrate next week, because he's just won the United States Championship, isn't he? So imagine if he comes out next week to do a celebratory thing, and then he just goes, "I don't need any of you," and then that'd be great. What a turn from his babyface moment win.
What if he is the third guy in MVP's stable?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Could you imagine that stable, last year WWE champion, Apollo US champion, you're just there, what the fuck just happened?
I've said this before, Lashley is not winning that championship. It isn't happening.
You wait.
It isn't happening.
Next week, you'll be sitting here going, Ray retired. And then the following week, you'll be saying Lashley's champion.
No, I won't. No, I won't. No, I will not.
You're not putting your beard on the line.
No, I'm not, but still, I'm 99.99% sure that Lashley is not winning. He's being fed to Drew for a reason.
Yeah, I hope to God you're right. I really
right, so, final question from me to you is, very simple, who is your Mount Rushmore of wrestling?
Oh, God, I really hate it when people ask me this.
I mean, it doesn't have to be WWE, it could be anyone. So, I just say wrestling, so...
I take it we're just talking,
Who are the four people that come to mind that you would put up there?
Right. I think...
Get the obvious ones out of the way, because there's two that are pretty obvious.
Hogan's in there, whether I like it or not.
Oh, I don't know.
He is the biggest wrestling name there has ever been, apart from number 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah. What about Taker? I thought you'd be putting Taker in there.
I know. That's the conflict I've got at the minute. Of he has been such a cornerstone to the point of the company that he should be in there. But it's kind of I see him as whether it's the Mount Rushmore. I think Taker's kind of like the Lincoln Memorial of it. He's got his own throne.
Right, okay, so he's not part of a foursome, he's basically bigger than that.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter what 4 people I put in this Rushmore now, he's going to be part of all those generations. So he's kind of he's in a league of his own.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll accept that.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Hogan, Austin, again, whether I like it or not, Cena.
Okay, I didn't see that one coming. Well, it's because I can't see him, that's why.
I'm trying not to go by I know it should be personal anyway, but I'm going with who genuinely changed the face of the industry.
Yeah.
So, Hogan, Austin, Cena, and I think I'm just going to have to go with The Rock.
Okay.
Because The Rock, not only did he, trailblaze through WWE, but he left to become, let's face it, probably the biggest celebrity in the world.
Yep, fair enough. I'd accept that.
He felt there's an argument to say that he used WWE to kickstart that, and so what? But on the flip side, he would put much more attention on the WWE.
Yeah,
and that's great for business. So yeah, I think I'm set with those 4. I'm good with them.
Yeah.
Yours?
Oh, right. I mean, I went for Taker, Austin, CM Punk, and the 4th one I was really struggling with. I would probably say Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, the guy is a prick most of the time. I mean, he's better now, but he used to be this ungodly asshole. But his in-ring talent is one of the best we've ever seen. You know what I mean? There's a reason why the best wrestling match in the world involves him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put that up there as him. And the reason I picked Punk is because he's the person that got me back into wrestling, and he was a bit of a game changer as far as like the towing the line between kayfabe and everything, and really shaking things up when it was becoming so fucking dire and boring, and he just made it more interesting again.
I probably would have thrown him in there if A, he'd stayed longer, or B, he'd done this kind of thing earlier in his career. But it just seemed like he had his career, the pipe bomb, 3 years, and he was gone.
But it was the impact he made that made me put him on there.
He made a lot of impact while he was there, after the pipe bomb than before. Not saying no disrespect to the rest of his wrestling career. But, I mean, I nearly said Bruno Sammartino. Because he pretty much... Hogan might have, like, put WWE on the map, but Bruno's pretty much the reason why it was there in the first place.
Yeah.
But no, I'm sticking with my 4.
Yeah, I'll stick with mine as well. Neither of us said Ric Flair, which was weird.
No, but...
It's hard to pick.
It's hard to pick Flair for me anyway, because don't get me wrong, I love Flair and I get what he did for the industry, but number one, I never really get to see him wrestle in his prime and in that time, in that era, so I can't really know how good he really was back in the day.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Ric Flair and Hogan in the 80s of who was the biggest star, I think Hogan just tops it over Flair. But just.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, yeah. Like you say, he was a big.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Another podcast done.
Another lockdown pod's done.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll be, back next week for another one?
Yes, again, unless there's any major announcements.
Yeah, but, I mean, hopefully we'll have seen each other in the flesh by this time next week in some capacity, but...
It somehow sounded perverted.
Oh, for fuck's sake, just...
I want to see your flesh.
I want to see your flesh. Stripped to the waist.
I'll wear my shorts. Okay,
right, like, subscribe, and we'll be back in a week.
Yes, bye.
Bye.